to my YouTube channel called Bumping My Gums. It's my very first episode ever, and I am so thankful and grateful that you decided to click on my video and take this journey with me. What is Bumping My Gums? Basically, Bumping My Gums is me. A few years ago, I attended a talk show, and the talk show was basically someone in Delaware wanted to provide entertainment, adult entertainment where people can go and speak their mind and just basically have adult conversation. I really enjoyed that, and since then, I wanted to bring that to I wanted to somehow facilitate that. But I didn't know what platform to use, and then like everything else kind of goes by the wayside and you kind of move on. But I decided that I wanted to explore that. So I decided to start a YouTube channel to see how that goes. I also started a Instagram page. And the way that this will work is I will post my topics on Instagram, and hopefully people will go to Instagram, see the topic, and make very positive comments, and then when I make the video, your comment could possibly be featured in the video, and I will read it and provide some extra feedback based on your comment. So please feel free to hit the subscribe button and the notification so that the next time I post a video, you will be notified and you'll take this journey with me. First topic that I would like to discuss is about a seminar that I attended several months ago. And before I attended this topic, before I attended the seminar, I had never heard of the facilitator, and I never heard of the company. But my niece had sent a group text message asking if anyone would be interested. Now, 2018 was supposed to be my year of yes. Thank you, Shonda Rhimes, but didn't quite work out the way that I wanted to. But basically, my year of yes was to say yes to things that I normally wouldn't do because I'm self-diagnosed with social anxiety. So I tend to shy away from different things, anything basically that takes me outside of my house. But I said that I wanted to, step out there and do more things and, see some world, right? And I also wanted to be more active and do things that would cause me to be more active. So when my niece tossed that out there, I decided, you know what? I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say yes, even though I don't know anything about it. It's out in Washington, D.C. I'm going to do it anyway because she was familiar with the facilitator, and I believe she listened to her podcast and things of nature. That's how she became familiar with it. So I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Let's drive to Washington. Let's be empowered. Let's do this, right? So the name of the seminar was called Happy Black Woman, and it was in Washington D.C. as I stated, and it was hosted by a young lady by the name of Rosetta Thurman. Not sure if you are familiar with her, but she is the owner of Happy Black Woman, and basically her business is helping and assisting people with small businesses and helping them, like I said, get their small businesses up and running, and also with branding. She helps you with your branding. And the seminar, I have to say, was very, very nice. It was very encouraging. It was a room full of, ladies filled with melanin, and they were very nice. And these young ladies were coming there because they wanted to be encouraged. They were looking for, to be uplifted. And some of them were even coming to provide some testimonies because they have been to previous seminars. And not one, but a couple of the young ladies that I spoke to even shared how when they first came to Rosetta, they didn't know what their business was going to be. They were in jobs that they were not necessarily happy with, but through the seminars and setting up private sessions with Rosetta, they were able to discover what their passions were, not really discovered, but to explore their passions and come up with ways on how they could monetize it. And a few of the ladies were even in the process of quitting their 9-to-5 jobs and launching their businesses full time because following and implementing Rosetta's practices, their businesses had grown so much they could no longer do both. But anyway, I digress because this is not a paid sponsorship. If you want to learn more about Happy Black Woman or Rosetta Thurman, I encourage you to go out there and Google it. And then if her seminar is in your area, I would encourage you to go ahead and check her out. But my topic is really based on her co-host. Her co-host name is Debrenda Jackson-Gandy. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe Debrenda's husband is a pastor out in Florida, or maybe it's Los Angeles. I don't know. Again, Google her. And it was her portion of the seminar that really kind of grabbed me and had me thinking later, like, in her portion, she is a love coach and she wrote a book, and she shared a testimony about how her and her husband were having some marital issues, and they went to counseling, they did group counseling, they went individual counseling, and just went through a series of things, and it got to the point where they didn't think they would be able to continue the marriage. They thought they may have to end it, but she said she went to the Lord fervently and just prayed and asked the Lord, please reveal to her what he would have her to do. Lord, what do you want me to do? Basically, she came to that point. Instead of asking the pastor, instead of asking friends, instead of looking at self-help books, looking at the psychiatrists or counselors, she went to the Lord. And she said that the Lord took her on a journey over a year, and that's what birthed the book. When she first started out, I was like, I don't know about this one. I don't know about this young lady. But she was saying things like, I'm here, and what I have to say is about to rock your world. It's about to change your mind. It's about to, shake you down to your core. And the way that you thought when you came in here, you are now going to be forever changed. And I was looking at my niece like, what you get me into? What did you pull me into? I'm not here for no bull now. I'm not here for no bull. I will take my purse and get up and walk out and mess around and lose the money that I paid, right? But as she got into it, as Debrenda got into her topic, it really did. It really did cause me to pause and think about different things. Let me pause here and give my disclaimer. I do not have any children. I am not a mother, but I am a godmother. I am an aunt. I am a cousin. I am a sister, and any other role that females play. And the reason why her topic hit me so closely is because of conversations that I have had with not just other females, but with other men in reference to how we were raised and the things and the tools that we received as our parents raised us. So it kind of struck a nerve, and I wanted that to be my first topic because I just thought that it was really good information, really good food for thought. Like she wanted to, provoke, right? Invoke, provoke. Yeah, whatever. You get it. You get the picture, right? So, well, for the seminar, for Rosetta's portion, we went through and I have notes, I have a cheat sheet because when I get nervous, I tend to babble and I didn't want to forget certain things. But anyway, but for Rosetta's portion of the seminar, she did a questionnaire. And the questionnaire is basically to discover things that you dislike and things that you like. And basically the purpose of that is for you to determine the things that you like. How can you monetize that? Or how can you do more of that to make yourself happy? Because we, you know, we get into these careers, we move or we go in a direction in our life that we think we're supposed to go into, and oftentimes we're stressed, we're overwhelmed. And so Rosetta wanted us to start thinking of different ways of getting out of that, getting out of the way of feeling overwhelmed or feeling like you're stuck and that you don't have any options in your life. Life is too short, so why not live it and live it well, live it happy, live it with a mindset where you enjoy what you're doing and you're able to provide a roof over your head for you and your family, doing something that you enjoy and not something that you hate. So that was the questionnaire. But again, I'm sorry, I'm flip-flopping. But and then Debrenda took us through the scenario. Like I said, she was saying about her and her husband, they were, going through issues, but she wanted us to think about where this began. Where did our superhero mentality begin? And through her session, I came up with a topic of what are we teaching our daughters? Really, what are we teaching our children, right? And through Debrenda's portion of the seminar, she was stating that when she was in prayer before the Lord, that he brought I guess, some of these things to her mind, and she started questioning them as well. So, where did it come from? Where where did this self-denial, save the world in spite of yourself mentality come from, right? One of the scenarios she walked us through is, as children, as a female child, what is the first toy that we receive? For some women, it's a baby doll. For some women, when you reach a certain age, it could be an easy big oven, or just some sort of a household appliance that, yes, it's role playing, you're using your imagination, but at the same time, it's teaching you to nurture or how to take care of something, a household or something. So she gave the analogy of the baby doll. She said that it was funny that before we're even able to take care of ourselves, before, some of us are still in diapers, some of us are still on the bottle, but yet we are given this baby doll, and then you're taught this sort of role play where your baby doll is now your baby. So they're referring to you as mommy and referring to your doll as your child, and you're encouraged, oh, you got to comb the baby's hair. Oh, I know you're hungry, but you got to make sure the baby eats too. Or, why are you putting your baby on the floor? Don't kick the baby, because, as children, some of us have a little tomboy in us, so maybe you're kicking your doll around or tossing it or whatever, but you're encouraged not to do that. You're encouraged to hold the baby and nurture the baby, sing the baby a lullaby, this baby doll. But then on the other hand, with little boys, it's not, they don't necessarily get taught the same nurturing uh, principles, if you will. They receive a G.I. Joe or a toy car or something like that they can be rough and be boys, right? You can kick the toy figurines around, or wrestling moves. I don't know if wrestling is still something that's popular. I told you I'm not a mama, but I don't know if wrestling is still something that's popular with little boys. But so you're going through these kung fu moves, or a toy gun, or just something like that. Just a toy where it's not so much about nurturing it, taking care of it, being careful with it, the way that us little girls are taught. So she's saying that sometimes that's where the seed is planted. And then you fast forward, you're getting that mentality, or you're getting that message instilled in you, and then you grow up and you're thinking that taking time for yourself is a bad thing. But why is it a bad thing? What's wrong with women being honest, not just with ourselves, but the people around us, and say, I'm overwhelmed. Mom, I know you usually watch the kids for me on the weekend, or watch the kids for me watch the kids for me while I'm working, but I just need a few hours to myself. Is it okay if you watch the kids while I go get a pedicure? Is it okay if you watch the kids while I go out with my girlfriends and just, have a beverage or two and just hang out and just unwind? Or if you do that too often, you get looked, looked at like, oh, she's a mom, but yet she's not taking care of her responsibility. But you are taking care of responsibility Monday through Friday, or Monday through Sunday, Sunday through Sunday, or whatever however you want to define the days of the week. You are handling business. You're coming home, you're taking care of home, you're taking care of your husband, you're cooking dinner, you're driving them to the PTA, you're doing this, you're doing that. But as soon as you pop up one day out of a month, or once a quarter, or however often, to say, I'm overwhelmed, people give you the stink eye. People look at you out of one eye like you're a bad mom. But why is that? Because I'm seeing a lot of people encouraging or giving people permission. I'm noticing a change in that narrative where people are starting to give women that permission. But I guess what I want to challenge is, when was it ever not okay? Or why was it not okay? Why is it now such a big push with different articles and, different memes and stuff that are coming out on social media to let women know that it's okay? When was it not okay? Why was it not ever okay for women to do that and, not feel like they're being judged? Looking at my notes here, making sure I'm not forgetting anything. So the one thing that I want to talk about is nurture versus hinder. And there are just so many things that are running through my head. I don't want to forget anything, or I do want to make sure that I get my point across for this topic. But um, when we're raising our children, we want to nurture them. We want to make sure that they feel loved. We want to make sure that they get all of the tools that they need in order to grow up to be productive adults, right? So, but I think sometimes in our nurturing, I think sometimes we can hinder. And again, this, I am not stating that this is how you should be raising your children. I'm not saying the way that you are currently raising your children is incorrect. All I'm saying is this is a topic that I heard, and this is just something that I wanted to place in your hearing to see what you think and give a different perspective on how you see things. So one of the things I wanted to give an example of is something as simple as household chores or maybe even laundry. You know, when you're raising your children, depending on what type of household you grew up in, or even cooking for yourself. Um, Sometimes we don't teach our children, we don't pass that down to us. And you think, you know, why do I need to teach my child how to do laundry? Why do I need to teach my child to cook? I know when I grew up in a single parent home, my my mom was not a respecter of gender. It did not matter. If you were male, if you were female, you learned how to cook, you learned how to clean, you learned how to take care of your home. My mom's thought process was for the boys in our home, what if you grow up and you don't get married right away? Or what if you grow up and you decide to get married and your wife doesn't know how to cook? So now y'all supposed to just eat McDonald's? Y'all supposed to just, eat out at restaurants every single day? Because ain't nobody know how to toss no pan on the stove and make a pot of spaghetti? So my mom wanted to, that's the thing that she wanted to instill. And plus she had a whole mess of kids. She ain't got time for all of that. She ain't had time to be, giving no individual bills. You gotta had to chip in and help this household go along because she had to work. So you kind of had to chip in wherever you could, or even doing laundry or things of that nature. And it's always funny because, like I said, when I have different conversations with different male friends or different female friends, you know, they don't cook, and it's like, I don't know. I guess not that I don't know. I guess that just wasn't the way that I raised. So it took a while for me to understand how you get out in this world and you can't feed yourself. And for me, it's not even about having a spouse to take care of. For me, it's self-preservation. When I left my mom's home, I went into my own apartment. I cooked. Like, I wanted to feed myself. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't about, oh, I'm getting ready for a man, I gotta make sure, to the way to get to his heart is through his stomach. No, I was thinking I want to cook because I wanted to survive, and I didn't want to eat a bunch of fast food. I wanted to actually sit down to a home cooked meal. And when I wasn't about to be going home every single day just to get nourishment into my body. So I feel the same way about a man. Like, we should teach our children how to be self-sufficient. In my opinion, that's the way it should be looked at. It should be viewed as teaching our children to be self-sufficient, to learn how to run a household. It's funny because different times where when I first got married, I did the budget and different things. But then at a certain point, I kind of gave that responsibility over to my husband. And I was happy with that because he works in finance. He does budgets and different things of that nature. So I'm thinking, you could probably budget this a lot better than me. And he took over. So sometimes my coworkers would make fun of me or joke with me like, you just make your paycheck, it just goes into an account and it just disappears. You don't know where it goes. You don't know what happens to it. And yeah, and I'm okay with that. I am okay with that because in our arrangement, the way that we do things, he's not doing it because I don't know how or he has to do it. He's doing it because that is the responsibility or that is the trust that I have instilled in him to do so. And also, too, even when you're growing up, when I lived on my own, I went into it knowing that I did not want to move back home. I moved out and I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on my own. I wanted to sustain a household and I wanted to know how to do that before I got married. And my husband was the same way. He wanted to live on his own and run his own household as well before he got married, because it was just something that was important for us to do that. And I'm very happy that I did that. And to get the responsibility of knowing to making sure my telephone bill was paid, my cell phone bill was paid, my rent was paid, my car note, my auto insurance, and different things of that nature. And let me tell you, there were times where I literally had $1 in my account, but my bills were paid. You didn't ever have to worry about calling me and my telephone was cut off. I wasn't trying to hide my car around my mama's house because my car payment wasn't paid. I, you know, sink or swim. I did not have a support system where as to say, oh, I can't pay my car payment this week. Can't pay my car payment this month. I'm gonna have to go to my mom to get money, because unfortunately my mom was doing the best she could to sustain her own household. She didn't have $200 to give me because I made a decision to go to the mall to buy shoes and not pay my rent. So I feel like those are the type of responsibilities we need to set up our children to do. And if we don't take time to sit down with our kids to say, this is how you deal with a checking account, this is how you work a debit card isn't magical. You have to balance that checking account to make sure that it doesn't get overdraft fees. And it's important for us to do that for our men. I've talked to several men who say, they didn't learn certain things until after they moved out and went to college or whatever. And like I said, kids are kids, and you try to instill certain things in them, but they know everything, so they're not going to listen to you anyway. But I'm just thinking nurture versus hinder. You know, teaching your child how to do laundry instead of waiting until they get on their own. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with teaching your son how to cook a meal so again he can sustain himself and not have to worry about depending on a woman for a meal, or worry about depending on coming home to you for you to cook him a hot meal? He knows how to cook a hot meal. Maybe he'll invite you over to his apartment and say, Mom and Dad, thank you for everything that you've done for me. I'm going to cook for you and now pour into you because you've poured so much into me as I grew up. Hopefully this video makes sense. Hopefully you understand where I was coming from with this topic. Like I said, nothing new or earth-shattering, but just some food for thought, just providing a different perspective on how we think about things. It's not always about raising up your child and preparing them necessarily to move on to a spouse, but it's just about, just pouring into our children and prayerfully giving them the tools and the equipment that they need to be productive members of society out here, and how to maintain and sustain a home of their own into the day that maybe they are blessed to have a spouse. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me, and you have a great day on purpose.